Hey, welcome to Red Dog Rebuilds. Today we're going to be putting an electric bike kit from Amazon on my wife's bike. Just show you what all you've got. Look right here, this is what you'll use. This is what comes in the kit. Look for kits that have a throttle in them. That's kind of handy to have. Some are pedal assist only. This has a throttle. This is a Highlong battery. It's great for 750 watt motor, lightweight, and we have not seen any issues with these running low on power. 20 miles plus easy. This is a crank drive, not a hub drive. It comes with this, 2 crank pedals, left and right brake pedals with sensors, so you're not pedaling while you're braking. Control panel, that's a color LCD Bafang. Speed sensor. This is for your crank motor to lock it in place. And these hold your cranks on. The only thing that might be useful to have is these right here. You can do it without a crank puller, but this is a crank puller. And this is a cassette. And that's her. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're gonna do is pull our crank off. So we take our Allen wrench right here. Most of this stuff right here will be just lefty loosey, righty tighty, kind of what you're thinking. Set that right there because you don't want to lose it. Always like to lay a white towel down just to keep everything thing, and then this right here. This is your crank puller. Very helpful. You get that tight, you walk that up. And you tighten. And sometimes you might have to pipe it with a hammer. But where that compresses on there, it comes off like this. Okay, the next tricky part is to remove the cassette. And I'm trying to remember, sometimes you might have to get it on the ground. These bike racks off Amazon, I think 50 bucks. It's worth it. You do not have to have one. It does make it easier. What you'll do is this thing right here, you need this crank puller or the cassette puller because these are tight. And you just unscrew. I had to actually take this on the ground and just tap it with a hammer. And they're fine threads. Just like that. Save all your parts. This one is a reverse. The right side crank, it's not lefty loosey. It would be called righty loosey, which is a little different. So just remember that your passenger side crank, it goes forward, cassette to pull it out. It's a reverse thread. Okay, there's your cassette. We're gonna save all of this in case we ever turn our bike back. So I will put this together. So right there. That's about the hardest part, y'all. Now, the neat part. This is our motor. What I'll do is I will slide it through. see, let me clean it up a little. Sometimes they'll get a little grit on them. You check the inside of your set housing, it's clean. And then it should. Pop through. It'll stop. Now if you get up into your frame on this other side, there are spacers. And then we'll run it right up on that cable. That'll be a good wedge for it because it's an insulated cable. If you have an exposed cable, go ahead and use a rubber spacer out of any hard rubber you've got and then compress it against it. Okay? So what we do now is we put this, those raised ridges go towards the bike. Indentations out, raised ridges in. And so what we'll do is we just want to get it started. We don't have to torque anything right yet. Again, just be careful not to cross thread. Bikes is easy to cross thread because a lot of times it might be steel going into aluminum. Okay, so that's just snug. It's not tight at all. Flat side goes in. Again, we just kind of get it started. Again, we're careful not to. Okay, now they do make a special tool for that, but you can use just a pair of good channel locks and just be careful. So now what I want to do is I want to put it up against it and I want to turn it. I'm just tightening it. And you'll see that it holds it in position. To get your channel locks in that tooth. Okay, so that's her. Now what you have now is a decorative ring. Again, this is easy to cross thread. It just covers over it, just like that. Here's the battery. There's the ends that go right into our motor. There's your charging port. We've had larger motors, but this one here fits perfectly. And I always mount it first just to kind of see exactly what kind of room I'm working with. It allows me to do my planning on everything else, routing of wires and that. So it'll hang and trim those later if we need to. Okay, here we just took our water cage off. I always put the screws back in, keeps it clean. So now we know where our battery is. We've got power. We'll run up through the rear here in the center. And we just kind of want to get us in the ballpark. We're not connecting anything right yet. We just want to say, okay, that's where it's going to go. Keep everything dead. Okay, now, what I like to do is we got to remove our handlebars. Oh, not our handlebars, but we'll loosen up our grip. Lord. And now, take off brake lever. Only reason we're taking these off is that the new ones have a brake sensor in them so that you cannot run the motor while braking. Very simply, there it is, brake sensor and everything. So this will go over here. I'll leave them loose just for a second. Now, before you do the left side handlebars, you have to decide where you want. Now our control panel, of course, is gonna go right here. So what I'll do is, first slide your control panel. This is your thumb operated, gear selector, speed, power on, everything. Put that on first because it's a tight fit. Make sure your Bafang motor's facing up. These are flexible enough. Now we will tighten those later with some Allen wrench screws that came with the unit. And probably what I'll do is take off this reflector and put it to the outside. Now one neat thing about this kit, we don't use it, but it comes with brake lights and it comes with a headlight. Currently we're not using it, but the nice thing about it, it's a plug and play. So once you decide you want it, all you do is put it back on. Okay, so we've got that. Let's put our left side, there again. We want the nuts facing down, brake signal. And it goes on just like this. Decide where you want your thumb. Some people want it inside, outside. We will put the thumb throttle inside. So it goes control panel, thumb throttle, lever. We'll leave those loose because we want to adjust it once we get on the bike and everything. Okay. Now, here's the easy part. Everything is plug and play. So what we'll do is come down to our main power thing. It can only go one way. Check your arrows. It'll be tight. There you go. This is just personal preference, y'all. We want to keep them out of the way just so we're not getting hit by anything. That goes to your speed sensor on the back. So you can always put it in there. Look at your routing. I'll probably tuck it up in here underneath so it doesn't show up as much. It'll come up to here. Now watch, everything plugs up. Just like this. Now it doesn't look like it fit, but you match up yellow arrows. Bam. Match up yellow arrows. Green, yellow to yellow. Okay, there. This should be our main control. Arrow to arrow. There you go. And then this is throttle. Can only go in one way. Match up your arrows. Snaps in there. Okay, so now we will take the brake lever, slips down that slot, and there is a channel. Pull everything in and it should tuck. There's two slots, just like that. You can see I'm lining up these slots. The brake cable in there, fit. It should collapse down there. It should give us enough. There's a little bit of tension. We can always tighten that. That's your tighten adjustment. Okay, so now we're hooked up there. Just put these on temporarily. Of course, they're notched. Now, one thing to check, it'll have left written on it. So put the left there. These are the bolts that tighten against it. And they will walk it on there tight. Doesn't take much tension because it is a cam. You don't have to rip the wrench off. Okay, there's the left side. And like we said, check on your crank, it'll say, you'll see right. I have seen people mess up with them like this. It'd be hard to pedal. Just put it just like a bike would go, opposing sides. Hey cat. I ain't gonna hit your foot.
Hey, Red Dog.
Red Dog. Darby, what are you doing? Okay, here. This is your speed sensor. This gets all the input from your wheel. You'll enter that in your computer. Usually I'll get it mounted where I think it'll work good. You can adjust this in and out with the screw, so we'll do that once we get it. And it has 2 zip ties that hold it on.
Can I use this today?
Okay, take it. I leave it loose. It has 2 spots, which is nice for the zip ties to hold. But I do leave it a little loose so I can slide it in and out. Because what will happen is we're going to put this sensor, so I know I'm going to have to move that in. You could mount this upside down, right side up, but it's fine right there. You'll see that we'll position the magnet so it hits without touching. Most likely I'll reroute this wire around the bottom side. Now what I do is I just kind of tuck the wires. And if I need to unplug this to run underneath this cable, I can. So I'm going to plug these. That's the nice thing about having everything detachable. Okay, so I'm going to run this up under this just to give it a clean look like this. And I'll probably do it with some zip ties. So, okay, hold. So first of all, what I'll do, get my wires tucked up, is I know I want to have enough flex to turn the handlebars. So I'm going to put one right here. Now I won't do these tight. I'll just do these just like that so I can get my adjustments made. I will do one more on the bottom, because what it'll allow us to do is once we pull it tight, it'll allow us to get it shifted under the bottom. So I've just got that barely attached. So now, I like to have enough room, so that right there, probably curl. What I'll probably do is this, I'll probably take this, wrap it around, there you go. Cable's on the front. Now let's tighten some of this. So plug. Okay. Doesn't have to be super tight, just snug. And this hand throttle, just in a comfortable position. And of course, these are different now for everything. Give this just a quick turn. You can always set these back up when we get on top of the Okay, here we are. We've gotten everything done, everything tucked in. We'll go through and just show you some of the things that we've got going. Okay, if you'll look right here, we've got our cables tucked, just giving enough room to turn completely. Okay, there's a Bifine control center, throttle, control pad, battery mounted. And then we just tuck the wires right through here. These are here tucked. I'll probably end up putting a zip tie probably right in here. And then it's all out of our crank and everything. There's our speed sensor. You can see right there, our clearance is fine. Not too close. Brakes have been adjusted, so we will get on the ground and show you this thing firing up. Okay, you'll see right here our control panel. Adjust it up just a little. Press and hold the power. And she powers up. Gives a readout. You can go through all setup screens on this. You can change the mode. You can turn the headlights on, info. You can change your mileage. You can reset that. This is where you dial in pedal assist. And then there's your throttle. So that's her. Y'all enjoy.